And we are live. Welcome back. Welcome back. Those that are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the Book Club Bros podcast. And we are reading The Fall Back Down When I Die. My name's Chase. I'm here with Landon and Miguel. Miguel was a little short today on the reading this week.
He's got the...
That's why he's wearing the cone head, ladies
Hey,
and
get
gentlemen.
yourself on screen. He's trying to hide.
How do you do it?
He's trying to hide
You
off
gotta,
camera.
you gotta like sit back a little bit in your chair just so we can get your full forehead.
Look at that.
down.
The whole thing fits on camera, though.
Wow.
Did we adjust
Wow.
it for
That's
that?
a lot of knowledge there.
That's just enough. That's just enough room,
But-
headspace for the whole hat.
But yeah, guys, so welcome in and welcome back. And we just finished part 2 of Fall Back Down When I Die. And that was from Verl to Verl. And things are starting to heat up. Things are starting to heat up. Not a lot of new characters introduced. Seems like the theme of this one was just like connecting the dots, is what I kind of took from, I guess. What are your guys' overall thoughts on this part?
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it was cool, too, that we got to... they kind of touched on all the characters, like, once, maybe twice.
Yeah.
And you weren't sure if they were going to keep adding more, but now it seems like they've kind of got the characters in place that they need to kind of go deeper into the details.
Yeah, and we
found
found
out a decent amount in this section
I was
about
gonna
our
say.
questions from the first portion.
Yeah.
Like, they explained, like, 90% of what we were talking about.
Yeah. So diving in, Verl, day 10 of the new dispensation. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have anything until the next
Nothing from that
nothing,
portion.
but I guess I'll just start. Wendell, in the next section, we find out a little bit more about Lacey.
Yep.
Wendell.
So one of
went-
us was right. Whose idea? Who said that?
She was in
Because
jail.
someone thought she was dead, and then
I think
someone.
Miguel thought she was dead.
I wasn't sure if we.
Yeah, I
Did
don't
you think she was dead?
don't
I
remember.
I didn't remember what I thought, but I didn't think she was dead. But we find out that she was incarcerated. I think that
Yeah.
was you.
Yeah,
thought,
Wendell said Wendell witnessed her wearing a jumpsuit and handcuffs. Didn't take all their time at all, sentencing her to 3 years in possession of meth
Yeah, that was crazy.
and 1 year of child endangerment, which is Lacey's son, Rowdy,
That Wendell's now looking after.
and yeah, willful neglect. So find out Lacey's a little crazy.
Yeah, it tells you a little bit how that happened too. She jumped into a silver Mustang with her boyfriend and didn't come home. That's kind of how she got started. Because before that, it talks about how Wendell and Lacey were like two peas in a pod, just kind of
Yeah,
always hung out, always talked. And then he was like shocked and kind of whenever like she just decided to do that, started dating. I think it was like a 30-year-old man,
yeah,
just like
Older
jumped
guy,
into his
yeah.
truck and just was. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what
and then she
happens
was
in the
gone.
country, baby.
gone for months. It came back, and she was 3
Yeah,
months
true.
pregnant.
Yep. And strung out.
Strung out,
Yeah,
man.
it's
That
crazy.
poor Rowdy.
But she was like a what was she? She was a track runner or something. Yeah. They did the boys and girls track. So I mean, it makes sense. They were both like really top-notch athletes. So they were the best buds.
And then Wendell ran into the boyfriend later on and confronted him and
Yep.
and put a gun to him and all the
Oh,
different stuff
yeah.
like that. So
After
like,
the
because
sentencing.
they couldn't find her.
Yeah.
They couldn't find Lacey for a portion of time, and he was just trying to figure out
Yeah.
if this guy knew anything. And he was like, "No, she left me too, or whatever."
Yeah.
But
Left me and took my car,
yeah,
which was crazy. That was
yeah, no, I was nuts.
So, and then we also find out in that chapter, Wendell goes to the bar near the courtroom or courthouse and runs into Jackie, who was her neighbor, or who's Wendell's neighbor, knew Jackie. Jackie brought a friend, Maddie, who Maddie is.
What's her name?
What's her name? The teacher,
Jillian.
Jillian's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
is what we find out. But then Maddie pisses off Wendell, and he goes off on her.
We also find out in this chapter about Wendell's mom and putting the hose from the tailpipe
Yeah,
into the car
suicide.
and the suicide.
Yeah.
Cavalier with the garden hose running up to the tailpipe. Man, it's I think it's kind of cool just reading books. It's kind of weird to go straight into cool after something like that. But I think it's kind
I
of
think it's
interesting.
really cool how she just kind
I
of.
think it's interesting how they like whenever you're reading a book, how they choose to describe certain things.
Oh yeah,
Like just because if you're not watching a movie, you're trying to paint the picture. Like I mean, I almost remember that from like writing papers in class. Like oh, it was a cool, brisk morning with the dew on the grass and the sun just over the treetops where you could see the bananas hang, like just the random stuff that they would say to try and give you an
So,
idea
I
about
want
what
to
they
read
would
your
do.
book. Sounds interesting. Bananas on the tree line.
Well, you just missed the entire part of the story if that's what you're focusing on. But yeah, no, you know what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
good
Yeah,
joke.
it
though.
is.
Good joke.
But it is no, it is pretty interesting because like yeah, it led it up to like at the final point, like the hose going in the car, where like everyone was I did it. I was like, oh, she, yeah,
You almost knew what was happening before it was even over.
Yeah.
Before the sentence was over.
yeah. And then we also found out in that section that which this was a hint. He said Wendell himself wished his own father would crawl out of the mountains. Was mentioned.
Did that give you a suspicion that it might have been him? Because that's not.
I wrote a little note saying Verl is Wendell's dad.
Because that's not what that wasn't even really on the front of our mind last week.
Yeah.
We may have hinted at it a little bit, but we really thought it was Rowdy's dad.
Yeah.
And then you also have the last thing I'll just wrap up from that portion is Rowdy has to go to Delphia because he got into a fight, and now they're looking into moving him to a different school because he was getting picked on and went on to the jungle gym, pushed the kid down, broke his arm, and then pretended to shoot him.
Yeah. Pew pew.
Pew pew. So pretended to shoot the boy in the face. So
Yeah.
at that
And-
age too, what is he, 5 years old?
I thought he was older than that. I thought he was
I
like
thought it was super young.
It was like
I thought he
8.
a little bit older, just a little bit.
Maybe he's a touch older.
I don't
but,
know, we gotta find out.
Too old to be
um,
shooting guns. Too young.
And Delphia is the school that Jillian works at. Jillian, the vice
She works at
president.
Coulter, I thought.
I thought she went to Coulter.
Went to no, I
for
thought
high
yeah.
school.
He was
Or, like,
supposed to go to
for school.
Delphia tomorrow to meet with the principal. Those were the notes that some boys have been teaching about. Snuck about it. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it might be true. I got the two mixed up, but so that wraps up that portion, and then it goes to day 11, the next day for Verl's dispensation.
Yep.
In this part, it talks about, yeah, I'm all. This is kind of where you, this is where you figure it out. He's talking about I'm all the way out here and your mother in the trailer, and then he says the name I get. So this is where so it says the name I gave you and your granddaddy carried, Wendell. So that's when you find out that he's
Yeah.
his father.
Yep.
But doesn't this give off that he doesn't realize that his wife is dead?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that he took
Yeah.
off, he took off before this happened, right? Because he's talking in the sense of, you know, I
When
wish,
I get back.
yeah,
and-
yeah, you, I mean, but I'm all the way out here, and you and your mother are in the trailer.
Mhm.
So he's like speaking as if she's. So this must have been. But how long ago did Wendell portray that the suicide happens? I think it talks about it.
sounded like
maybe.
he was younger. Like
That's what I thought. So
like a
like, has
lot
he been
younger.
up there for like
Yeah.
a minute? Like, is this guy just going crazy? Because at the same time, it's only day 11 of the
Yeah, he's fine.
dispensation.
Yeah.
So like, has he been up there so long? He's lost it. He's been out there for years and years.
right.
Or is it? So I mean, I wonder if we'll find out more about that because that's the part that I'm having trouble tracking now. Is now that we know that's his father.
timeline.
How long? Yeah. Well, like, what's the timeline if you think that your wife is still alive?
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Moving on. Jillian. Back to Jillian's point of view. Kind of piece together that Maddie, Jillian, who's Jackie's friend. So they are kind of meeting now, and then I really didn't get too many things.
this is when the encounter happens in the woods.
Yeah.
Where
Oh,
he says,
okay.
hey lady, you got a buck. He says, hey, sorry, I just haven't eaten in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Is what this person that she's out running, and she hits him with a full blast of pepper spray, and then she slipped the holster back into her pocket and ran down the hill. So she didn't even confront it, or you can tell she's got some type of like trauma or something along those lines. She was, I mean, maybe it's just dangerous in those areas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the guy said like, give me money, or the way that it was approached didn't seem like it
I mean,
was
they set it up a little bit. Like they were talking about how like near in that specific area they were like being cautious.
right.
Like that was pretty much it. But she really let
Just
dude have
yeah,
it.
just
Like,
whipped it out. I was like, yo. But
It talks a little bit about her husband's her previous husband, I guess, the one that was shot, his job, and like the reason that he caught himself in these situations as being like, you know, they had their tires slashed while they were out one time.
what was his job title?
A
again?
game warden.
Game
Well,
warden.
no, so
Or
that's what he
game-
was. He was a game warden whenever he was shot. But before that, he was a judge, right?
I
Or he
believe
was
so.
like he had a more government job,
Yeah.
and then he stopped that because of the tire slashing and the stuff like that, and took a game warden job in this smaller town that they lived in at this
Yeah.
point. But then it still makes a point to say game warden was still a government position.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it wasn't like you can understand like judges' kids have to like be anonymous and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I mean, there's that whole piece to it. So.
That is crazy.
Isn't that good? Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam's got some kids in her, or has a kid in her class that can't be any of the school photos.
Yeah.
Can't be in any of the school photos or anything, in case something were to go wrong with the case. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy like what they can do.
Oh.
Yeah. Like you can't even look up their address and stuff. Like it doesn't even
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes sense. Because I mean, retaliation.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sentence, yeah, you even think wrongful sentencing that happens all the time. You would hope
Right.
that you wouldn't be caught up in that, but who knows,
And then we also find out in this section too, she really doesn't like Verl because there's a point where, she oversaw or she was looking at a photo or something where like everyone was meeting up. She says she could see all their old neighbors gathered there for some idiot's idea of a patriotic rally, full ton pickups parked at every angle, and then it jumps down, and then she says she wouldn't go, would she? She's talking about some other person, Elner. And would they say Verl Newman's name? The vows of liquids of his name cracked and spilled from the tiny speakers, and no one even blinked. No one dared to be good to say that's not right at all. So she knows that Verl killed Kevin, I think.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
finds that out because it
Yeah.
goes on to say with the information that Dave said about this website or whatever that was out there. She clicks on it and it says like the first day of the legal wolf hunt in Montana has been over 30 years. It's gonna be so this is about to be the first legal wolf hunt in over 30 years, which kind of implies that they've been doing it illegally. If they've been doing it,
Right.
you find out that Verl, that's what he got in trouble for.
Right.
Was illegally killing one. And then if you scroll down to the bottom of the web flyer, it says martyr, and his picture was Verl Newman. And then she says Kevin's killer. So she's like, okay, so she starts to know. So I guess she knows. She's either piecing it together in real time, or she kind of knows, like, I've always kind of assumed this, but like
Right.
this is at least what I believe.
Yeah.
There's no physical evidence because we don't know what he did with Kevin.
Right.
Right. That's the one thing it
How-
didn't say that he shot him and that there was blood and but he did. He doesn't say like, and I disposed of the body and
Oh
dug
yeah.
a grave, and,
Yeah.
or I left him and let people come and try and assume what would have happened somewhere else, or like took the body to a second location. Like, we don't really know what happened after he just up and shot the dude.
Yeah. Moving on to the next section. We're back to speaking of Verl.
Day
We're on day 12. And I didn't really see anything pointing out. All I know is his writing sections are getting longer and longer
Yeah.
and longer.
He's writing at different times during the day, like
Yeah.
now and later.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't have anything for that
Yeah.
either. So it moves us
So-
on to Wendell.
Yep. Moving back to Wendell's point of view now.
So you guys are right. So this is where it talks about getting Rowdy enrolled in Coulter.
Is it?
Like,
Is it?
yeah, he
is
said
it
that he got
Coulter?
it done. Yeah. Wait, or were you saying it was Delphia?
I thought it was Delphia. I thought he
Okay,
was
so
moving
the
from
district in Coulter and gotten Rowdy enrolled over there. Maybe let me see, what did that say before that?
Is it Coulter County and the school's called Delphia?
Wendell had gone ahead and skipped out on work. He held the boy out of school for the day. He'd called the district in Coulter and gotten Rowdy enrolled over there. So he's moving
Okay.
to Coulter,
So it's Coulter.
Mm-hmm.
and he was
He
awful
went
glad
from
about it.
Delphia.
Yeah, so he was in Delphia.
Moving to
And she
Coulter.
is the counselor and the assistant principal at Coulter. I remember
Correct.
that.
Yep.
So that does line up then.
Yeah.
And then on the next page it says that awkward scene. This is weird to even talk about with his mom.
Oh yeah, this is where we find out the suicide. Yep.
Yeah, but where he was just like, his mom was like so drunk she was coming on to him. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was,
like embarrassed. Yeah.
yeah, and he had to leave. Yeah, and then she came back and
And he's
she,
just like saying his dad's name, just saying Verl,
Yeah.
and like that was. And he's 24 now, so I mean now he's at the age where he's like, I mean it's not still reasonable of a sound mind, but he's not like 11.
Yeah.
Like he's probably like
Yeah.
a grown-ish
I
man
figured
now.
he was like around like 17 or 17 or 18 when
Hmm.
like that kind of happened.
That's true. I guess it depends on when the suicide would have happened. I
Yeah.
guess.
But yeah, no, he came back and yeah, he she was in a robe. He had brought a pillow, reclined her seat, and reached over and he reached over and shut off the engine. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's a picture I'm talking about. Like it says, a little less than a year ago now, he got back from work and saw her Cavalier idling out front of the trailer, windows fogged, dripping. I'm just like, yeah, just you can
Okay.
just see the scene, you know. Oh, a little over a year
Yeah, I was
ago.
gonna say we
So
have a
now
little
it's
bit of a
recent.
timeline.
So there it
Yeah.
is. So I guess that's why I
So-
highlighted that. So which means, you know, Verl has probably been gone either a little over a year. You would think that this probably all played out because of if they found out what he did or the guilt, whatever he was living with, and it changed who he was.
Mhm.
Like, I think that would maybe be what would draw him, or it was just like, yeah, I mean that because he probably took off because they were maybe onto him or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
But
but yeah, we'll see. We find that out. It kind of paints a picture of the suicide again.
And Roddy said a word. Said hello. That was interesting.
Good step.
Oh, okay. And then he's out in the woods with Rowdy and
Yeah, in the canyon.
Brian Betts and Trisha Wilson.
Trisha.
Trisha Wilson's boy.
Yep.
With Taven comes by while they're out planting traps, right? While they're
Yep.
out putting traps out there.
Yep.
They come by on whatever their ATVs and
Yep.
stuff like that and scares them a little bit. They had to try and lay low. So
They saw him cutting the fence.
you see, you're starting to see the character. Like, that's why this
Yeah.
portion was more interesting in the sense of you're seeing the characters intertwine and not just learning about their individual backstories and
so
stuff like that.
Brian Betts and his son are definitely up to no good.
Yeah.
And
Just like Jillian knew it. She knew it.
and Wendell and Rowdy saw that. And then
And then it talks a little bit about just a slight picture about what Rowdy went through whenever it says, Wendell put the quilt around the boy's neck. He says he'd been trapped in that. Now he's just thinking about Rowdy's upbringing. He said he had been trapped in that apartment alone. Wendell thought, Christ Jesus, there was a lot the boy had suffered that the world would never know, but he took some comfort in the thought that at least the boy could get himself some butter crackers now. So he's just like thinking back to how on the back of the book, whenever you looked at that last week where it said he's mute, but he also had trauma.
yeah.
Like, we don't even know his trauma yet.
Yeah.
So I think that we'll either find that out soon in this next portion or they're saving it till the very end. But we're halfway through the book now and the characters are starting to develop and you're starting to get a little bit of an idea about that, but we still don't know exactly what the trauma was other than if it was just like the typical methed out mom type,
Right. Just
neglect and not
yeah.
getting food. Like, it could just be as simple as that. But
And then also in that section, Wendell takes or puts Rowdy to bed and then gets a call from Maddie, who was Jackie's friend, who's also Jillian's daughter, and she felt bad. She apologized for bringing up,
insinuating that he wasn't taking proper care of him.
bringing up Rowdy, and basically just like offered a gesture to see if there's anything she can do. She can bring him any clothes and stuff like that. And Wendell said,
He didn't want to accept the help, but he ended up.
yeah. He said previously, or what did he say? Like my past self or something, I would say no, or
Yeah.
my father would tell me no.
Right, probably.
And then, but he said, yeah, Roddy could use a jacket could use a winter coat.
You also get a little peek into his trauma. He said the last time a girl called him on the phone was just after his mother had died. So he's gonna still. So I mean that I guess makes it, not to say that, sometimes it takes either a lifetime to get over something or whatever, but it's more fresh.
Yeah.
Like, it's still a raw-ish feeling.
Yeah, of a year. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so like just around a year, especially if it was like just around a year, like the year anniversary of something like that happening is always like a timeline point. But back to
Jumping back to Verl for day 14. Eating hamburgers and hotcakes, your mother's fries. You would not believe it, boy, but this is very day your old dad licked inside a pear cactus for dinner. So like he's dreaming about all of his like mom's cooking and stuff like that. He's licking a cactus.
But this is the portion where you finally find out what he did. So he says on page 106, he goes, I'm thinking about why it is I'm out here, and it's time I tell you. So this is the first time he's almost kind of openly admitting or like saying to it. So this makes me think that they had no idea, that they think he just cut and run,
Yeah.
that maybe he left before he was even getting investigated. So that, like, which would maybe make yourself more like of a suspect. But it says, I've been cashing your mother's disability checks, buying feed and grass, whatever all. And I've been collecting CRP in this old past creek. I've been taking grass that was not mine. So apparently he was doing a few crimes. Like he was doing a few different things. And he said, that is why I'm out here, because I would not lie anymore. It's true I killed a wolf. I do not deny that. That's kind of what got him in that situation. And then he goes on and says the law says wolf can only be shot after confirmed livestock kills and paperwork and what all.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting how, you can't kill anything unless you like file, like it has to do damage to you before you can even take action into your own hands. But then you find out Kevin walks over and says he found the wolf, says he didn't want to do it, but Verl, I got to take you in. And he says, in your heart, you do not have to turn against one that. So then it switches back to Verl's point of view. In your heart, you do not have to turn against one that has been your brother and balled up his fist with you on the recess yards. That's what I was thinking, but I only stood there. I said nothing. I shot him.
Yep.
First, I shot him, not really aiming at him, and hit him in the guts, the shoulder, and aimed to shoot him in the jaw. Then I shouldered and aimed to shoot him in the jaw.
Yeah.
He said they're trying to take our land. Like he kind of looks at him as like an enemy now. But that was the exact kind of portrait that was placed as to. I mean, it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Right.
He didn't expect it. He was just like, he even says like, "What are you doing, Verl? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on here?" And then boom, he's shot. And then
Yeah.
boom, he's finished.
Yep. And then just 10 gallons of blood on the grass, and then that's it. I mean, we don't like you said, we don't find out
Doesn't
anything
say.
about if he disposed the body, if he got caught, if he's on the run, or now we do know a little bit though that Wendell knows that he's living in the mountain. So I don't think he left abruptly where Wendell doesn't have any knowledge of where he's at. It's just or maybe he's getting these letters.
But we know that. But
Or
he
something
said
like
he
that,
hasn't gotten
too.
it to him. He said, "I wish I could get him to you." So
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
think he's getting him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know that he left over a year ago now. If
Yeah.
he still, unless he has, that's the point I guess we're balancing right now is he delusional?
Right.
Like he knows he left after his wife had died. That's part of the reason why he left. Couldn't deal with it. Now he's out in the mountains, and he's like, "Oh, I'm writing to you and my wife, even though maybe way back deep in my psychosis, I know that she's not alive."
Right.
But I'm writing to her anyways, just because like I can't accept the fact that she probably took her life because I left or because she found out what I did or something like that.
Then it jumps back to Jillian, and we found out in Jillian, school setting, school didn't get enough, or what is it? The
Quit.
special ed teacher quit,
Mm.
and the principal was like, "Hey, we're gonna divvy it up between you and
The football coach.
the coach." And
So she's got the elementary
younger-
kids,
yeah.
and he's got the junior high.
She's all pissed about that, but yeah.
That's a small town for you right there. That's just,
I was gonna say that has to be a small town situation.
oh my gosh.
Because
Because she's not even. She talks about it. She's not even qualified
Yeah.
to to teach or care for special ed students.
Yeah, but the principal can actually, gives her compliments, says you're the best teacher here and stuff like that, and she can handle it. She kind of gathers herself and starts, taking on the challenge. And as she's gathering them, or she's walking through the classrooms,
Yeah, she's going to get I think 2 kids that were supposed to be in this one class.
that were, registered or whatever, were on her list, and
Mhm.
then she went to the teacher and the teacher was like, "Oh, there's a new kid. He'll definitely need you."
Mm.
And sure enough, it's Rowdy.
She says definitely autistic, but probably some trauma too.
Yeah. Yep. So now we know that Rowdy interacted with Jillian.
It's her first time. He says, "I'm Rowdy." I think
Yeah.
that's his most like. I think it's his most complete sentence that he said so far,
Yeah.
other than pew pew or hi or whatever it is. But she says like, "What's your name, kiddo?" Da da da. Ricky, Bartholomew, Eustace. You. I bet you're a Eustace. He paused his fingers and then, "I'm Rowdy." He said, "I'm Rowdy." So
Yeah. And
there we go. We find that out. Oh, and that
that's
was the
it.
end of it right there.
And that was it. That was the end. So recap. So yeah, they're like mixing together. So we know big thing was Verl killed Kevin, shot him. He also
Jillian's
killed
husband. Yep.
also killed a wolf.
Mhm.
That's why, and we're assuming that's why he's on the run or living in the mountains.
Mm.
Wendell knows that. We also assume that Verl doesn't know that his wife's dead. Is we're gonna
So it
under
must have
that
taken place
assumption.
after he had shot and taken off.
Right.
Shot Kevin and taken off.
And we're also thinking that he is delirious because he's saying it's day 12 when in reality it's been over a year since,
True. Maybe it's day 12 since he got his hands on a notebook.
Right.
possibly.
But he did say he had it, like he was able to grab it before he left. So
Oh, is that what he said about the notebook?
yeah.
I wonder.
But it also could be like this could be like a backtrack of his records, because I mean we could cheat and look and see how far. the
Oh, if it's
days
day
go.
480, right?
Right.
Mm,
But
that's true. We
Oh, like we're watching, like we're reading the beginning of whenever he
Yes.
first took off, but because it does jump around a little bit in time,
Mhm.
and in time to a certain point.
yeah. So there's that connection. Wendell meets Maddie. Maddie's is
Jillian's daughter.
Jillian's daughter, who's also Jackie's friend. So there's a little bit of a connection between them.
Rowdy is now about to be in Coulter, is in a new school now,
Isn't and
and Taven, who was in Coulter, is no longer at school right now,
Yeah.
off running through the mountains with his stepdad.
Yep.
Committing illegal things as well, like you said, cutting down the fence.
Yeah.
Isn't it assumed that they weren't on their property because they all have their own properties? I thought they talked about,
yeah.
and that they were supposed to be setting traps on their own property, and then people came flying through.
Are you
right?
talking about Wendell and Rowdy?
Wendell and Rowdy were setting traps on their property, I
Right.
thought, and then all of a sudden there's Brian and Taven on their property.
Yeah.
So not only are they trespassing, but they're cutting down fences, and
Yeah.
probably it looks like they're maybe getting prepared for the wolf hunt as well, which we found out is about to be the first legal one in 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like it had been. I think last section we may have thought that it was like an annual thing,
Right.
but
yeah.
if it's an annual thing, they would have been doing it annually illegally,
Mhm.
which could also be the case.
Right.
But we know that it's about to be the first one in forever. We also know that Jillian is aware, we think, that Verl is the killer of her husband.
Yeah,
Which it
I think
hasn't
so.
talked-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So we're pretty sure that she feels that way.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to go off of because Verl's been now gone for over a year, so maybe it's not much of a talking point in the sense of like she's mad at a ghost, like no one knows what happened to him. Because
Right.
if he's out in the mountains and there's been no trace of him, and it also makes me think that unless something crazy happened to his body and you just can't even tell facial structures, that he's not the one that got pepper sprayed. It's someone else that she pepper sprayed because she was running in the woods and saw the guy and pepper sprayed him whenever he asked for $1 and said I haven't eaten in a while. You would
Sure.
think that, hey, she's like, oh, I'm not, and then like getting into it with Verl there, if that was Verl, because for a second I thought it might have been.
I think it is. I think it
You
is,
think-
but
so
I think
you
he's
think
just
he's just-
unrecognizable.
If so, that would have to be the case. He would have to be unrecognizable because if she really thinks so, then she would have said more about it.
Oh yeah, she
more
would have
about that
actually like
encounter.
killed him. Yeah.
She would, but at least she would have said more about that encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would have pepper sprayed him, kicked him, and then ran off.
Yeah.
Or whatever. She doesn't feel ultra. We don't know how big she is.
True.
If she's 4'8" and Verl's 6'5" and starving.
Are you picturing her as
still.
like 4'8",
I
like a
don't
little
know.
tiny thing? How are you picturing her?
A teacher.
I'm thinking just like average.
Yeah, just average.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not thinking she's like a tiny person, but
Yeah.
but we don't know how big
That's
Verl
funny.
is. We know Verl's a country person.
True.
Yeah.
So I mean, even
Licking cactuses though.
licking cactuses, I agree, but 6'5", Sasquatch
Yeah.
looking
Right,
character
right.
probably at this point if you haven't shaved and any of that stuff. So,
Yeah. Bro.
But yeah, so it goes back to connecting the dots. A lot more is developing, and we're finding out more and more about each character. But moving on, part 3, we are reading from Verl to
Come on, make it Verl to Verl.
another Verl.
180. What's on 180?
Probably
Anything? We got a
181,
Verl to Verl, baby.
181.
Give me some Verl to Verl. That's what I'm talking about. You got a pen in
That's
here?
nice that it's.
No, I don't got a pen.
Never.
There you go, bookmark.
It's all right.
But yep, Verl to Verl we'll be reading again. So that's from page 121 all the way up to 181. So another 60 pages there.
And you would think that this portion is gonna just continue to just unravel
heating
more
up.
and more stuff, just
Yeah.
more and more stuff.
I think I don't know. I think this one's gonna be a pullback. I think this is gonna be more like Jillian finding out more about Rowdy, Wendell. I feel like Wendell and Maddie are gonna. I feel like this is what's gonna happen. This is my prediction. Wendell and
Go ahead,
Maddie
make a prediction.
get into relationship. They get
Oh,
all
spicy.
friendly, right?
He's a little older than her though, 24, and what? She's about to go to college, so 17.
18. We'll
18?
give it 18.
Well,
You
it's-
know,
it's
it's
It's the
not.
country.
You know, I mean,
It's
there's
the
not.
country. Hey, what?
it's
What?
slim
What?
pickings, you know.
What? Senior in high school and 30-year-old on meth with
Oh, yeah.
Lacey.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they have set the precedent.
So
Recurring theme.
I
Yeah.
think that then Jillian finds out about the relationship. She likes Wendell. That's all good and dandy. Finds out that Wendell's Veryl's son, and something bad happens there.
Do we remember if Wendell was a star at Delphia or Coulter?
I think Delphia.
So was she at
Yeah.
Delphia during that time, or did she start off at Delphia and then go to Coulter? There's a chance that she taught Wendell, I guess. I don't know how long she's been at Coulter. She would maybe know Wendell,
True.
the teacher. Jillian.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Possibly.
I wonder, yeah, because like you said, if she likes him, she would have to either meet him or know of him.
Yeah, I think they meet because they're dating, and then
Mm.
yeah,
Is this a
That's
love
my-
story? I
that's
didn't
my
know it was a
prediction.
love story. He's going
But-
with a love story.
yeah. I think there's gonna be some drama there. I don't know if it's gonna happen in part 3, but that is my prediction.
You think they ride off into the sunset?
No.
Part 4.
No shot. No shot. I think someone gets. I think someone else gets shot
Yeah.
Someone's
for sure,
gonna die.
for sure.
for the hunt, but
Did you guys see the little tidbit of info?
no.
Okay, I'm not gonna say.
Whoa, what do you mean? Come
Bro,
on there, Mr.
Like,
Knowledge.
when we flipped over to there's a question mark on the day counter.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay, so there we go.
okay. So he is losing it.
He is.
Makes
and
sense.
We'll find out why or how.
We'll find out why.
You know.
Next week.
We'll get
Hopefully.
to the bottom of it.
I don't know if we read all of our pages there.
God,
It'll get done. I gotta get back
joking.
to my
Oh, and-
atomic habits.
Yeah, we were talking. We'll probably start doing Wednesdays now for all you guys watching. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Because Mondays we like got some other stuff, and then Fridays it's just
Wednesdays.
I feel like Wednesdays make sense.
It's a good break in action.
If you don't have time to
Hump
read it on the
day.
weekend,
Yeah,
we show up on Monday and we're like, hey, look, we got to lock in. We got till Wednesday. Sorry, create some time in that Monday, Tuesday night routine because you didn't get it done this. I think that's the point. That's like a good buffer. Is like
It is.
I
try and get
think
it done
so.
on the weekend. That's what I try and do.
Yeah.
And then if you don't, then it's like,
And the weekends.
Yeah, bro.
And then you're like, oh, it's
Yep.
Monday morning and I did
That's-
not read.
It's literally
no,
what happened to
dude.
me.
This past
Yeah, you're
weekend I was
also,
like,
you know.
yeah, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
This past weekend I was like reading in the car. I was just like, I
Bro.
want to knock out like 5 or 10 pages. Got car sick. I was like, jeez.
You got car sick? Oh, you can't.
It's
Interesting.
a lot.
Well, reading in the
It's kind of
car.
a lot.
Reading in the car, you're cool with that? I thought I would. Be.
I really don't like
I've been
reading in
better
the car too,
before.
but I don't think I get car sick from it.
Well, I think you'd have to do it to know.
Maybe, true. True.
I think you'd have to do it to
True,
know.
true. All right. Are we switching over to our short snippets?
Wrap it up. That wraps up part 2. Come back and see us for part 3.
Part 3.
Virl to
All
Virl.
right.
That's
Virl
a
to Virl.
3-peat. Virl better not die. We better go Virl to Virl to end
I
it
was gonna
off.
say it better end off. If not, it's
Right?
just
Virl
not
to
gonna be
Wendell.
right.
Virl to Wendell.
Right? We should have been doing Wendell to Wendell the entire time.
Yeah.
But all right, Miguel, Mr. Knowledge,
Okay.
please have a knowledge quote right now. Something about foreheads.
These are a reading quote.
All right. When life puts you in tough situations, don't ask, why me? Say, try me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I like that.
Try me.
Why me? Try me.
Try me.
There you go.
I like that.
All right. Moving on. What's your Landon was hyping up this question. He said, "Well,
I-
this is a good one."
This is just. I'm moving off of the ones trying to make it book themed right now, or to line up with the book, because this is a tough one to line it up with as a
Yes.
novel. So, I was watching a documentary last night. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's that Quiet on Set,
Bro.
where they're talking about. Hey,
Oh,
hey,
is
relax,
that's
relax.
about the Nickelodeon thing,
It's
right?
about the Nickelodeon thing.
I'm watching
Staff,
this
quit it. It's about the Nickelodeon thing, and just the upbringing of that. So it just had me thinking. I was just scrolling, just thought-provoking questions. And the second one actually, that pops up, it says, "What TV show would you want to be in, and what TV show would you not want to be in?" So what's a show you watch growing up to be like, "Oh, that'd be cool to act on that," or "That'd be cool to just be in," even if you wanted to take it any route. "Oh, that'd be a cool scenery to be in, like the Sweet Life on Deck, because you're all
Oh,
the things
yeah.
on a boat. Like
That
that'd
was
be a
pretty
cool
sick.
thing to act in.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't want to act in this because it's about something I don't like or whatever it is. So what would be?
Is that-
You can choose it either
Can
way.
it be
unless
cartoon too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Oh.
It can be
Cartoon.
either one. Either one. You can choose what you want to be in versus not be in, or you can choose both if you got one for both.
Okay. I have one. I'd like Phineas and Ferb. I think that'd be really
Such a
cool
good one.
to be in.
Oh,
Such
interesting.
a good one.
To be not in. I'm gonna go with Survivor, because those
I like
people
that.
look rough
Mm.
after the 60 days.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm gonna go a show that I would enjoy being in. Holy crap! I just had it on the. I just thought of it. Now it's gone that quick because you said Phineas and Ferb, and that's such a great. I don't know. I'm gonna go quick. Rick and Morty. I would love to be in that show. That would be so insane.
Yeah.
And you'd be able to just come back to life somehow. Might not be you, but it is you. And then
Interesting.
a show that I wouldn't want to be in. I don't think I would have fun doing like those like obstacle course games.
Oh, yeah.
Like a
Oh my
Wipeout type
goodness.
Wipe out.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm the
No.
stand-in. I'm the one that tests all the.
Dude, I love those so much.
It's so funny to watch.
It
but I
is
don't
funny to
wanna
watch.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you could become a meme real quick. For
Alright,
me, one that I would say, just because I was trying to do something that I would like grew up watching, and I actually it's kind of a spin-off, but I love The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Fire.
It was good.
Like
Yeah.
living
So
in a
good.
hotel,
Yeah.
being in a hotel, that being your life. Plus, I don't remember where it takes place at, but it's in like a big city.
Yeah.
So
it's
like
like
just
New York
being-
City.
I,
Or
I
something
think
like
it's in New
that.
York
Yeah.
City. Just the life of like being in a hotel 24/7, especially at that age. I feel like that would be kind of crazy. What I would not want to be in, other than apparently Drake and Josh now, or
Right,
something
bro.
like that.
Oh my
Apparently, I
gosh,
wouldn't want to
that's
be in
insane.
that. Yeah, no, I've only watched the first episode, and it's crazy already from the start. But yeah, what would I not want to be in? I guess I wouldn't want to be in. Survivor's a good one. I was trying to think more kid shows, but I really only watched the kind of stuff that I liked. Yeah, I don't got any hating options today. We'll
No.
just go with. I'll just.
Sweet
I'll
Life's
copy-
good.
It's cool.
I'll
Sweet
copy
Life's
your
good.
Survivor.
I just remembered my first idea.
What was that?
Zoe 101. To
You
be in.
Oh,
to be in Zoe
That's
101.
a good
That's-
one.
And
Oh,
that was, I
really
think
fun.
that was another show. That's another
It's a
show that
crazy-
there was
yeah.
some.
Hey, why are
Um,
all the good shows the bad shows?
there's
Now we're
people
finding
on
out.
there, bro.
Dude, there's a lot of inappropriateness, man. It's crazy. You didn't even realize it.
But
Yeah.
there you go. That's gonna ruin it. That's gonna ruin all of our shows
That's what
that
they
we
said.
watch.
It opens the scene. If you're a 90s kid, you may not want to watch this because it's going to ruin not your childhood, but what your vision,
Right, what you watch.
whatever your
yeah.
vision was of that.
Dang.
That's literally
Yeah.
our group chat. That's what everybody said. I
Really?
can't. Everybody said I just can't look at those shows the same anymore.
And I haven't even seen the ones probably that they're talking about because the first episode, I can just tell you this because it's not it. The first episode's about Amanda Bynes, if you remember who she was.
Amanda show.
Her Amanda show. Yeah,
Dancing
exactly.
Lobsters.
She's like basically the focal point of the first episode. And already I'm just like, dang.
Yeah, she's crazy too. Like she
Yeah.
went off the
Yeah.
deep end.
And you figure out why, man. You figure out why.
Holy crap, bro.
Wow. There you go.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch.
Dude,
this.
documentaries are. I'm always down for a good documentary. Have either of you watched the GameStop documentary yet?
No.
I know you haven't.
Not yet.
Come
'Cause we
on.
There
have
you go.
Fridays.
We're gonna have to make a podcast where we just every week we watch a documentary and then we come
That
back
would
and
be
we're
a
like,
fun-
yo.
That's cool.
I don't know that we'd be able to
Small
make it
segment.
long enough to be. Yeah. It could be a segment. It'd have to be a segment. I don't know how we get the whole.
All right.
podcast.
Speaking of segments, it's my
Here
turn
we
for my segment.
go.
Here we go. Take it over.
Am I wrong for not giving my birthday trip money to my cousin? Next month I turn 20. I'm planning on a trip with my parents for the occasion. I casually mentioned to this my cousin Roma on our way home from college last Friday, and she asked about my birthday plans. She relayed this to her mom and which is her mom, which is my aunt, and called mine to scold me, saying it was wrong for me to flaunt what I have to her daughter when they're going through a tough time nearing Roma's birthday. In reality, I wasn't flaunting anything. I simply answered her question. Plus, we didn't know about the situation until then. My mom tried to explain, but my aunt started insulting us. She had the phone on speaker, saying she was fed up. My parents were making her daughter feel bad, me and for being a show off. My mom got upset and reminded her in the same tone that they could afford more because she worked before meeting my dad, and they didn't rely on child support. My aunt didn't respond and just passed the phone to Roma. Roma started crying while talking to my mom. She said that she was emotionally distressed because her dad threatened to cut off her child supports, and in my country, it's mandatory for the support of a child until they turn 21, and they didn't know what to do. So they asked if my mom could help them as a birthday gift. In other words, she asked my mom for my trip money, and my mom told her to talk to me about it. She handed me the phone, and I said, "For 22 years, your mom hasn't worked, and she should have realized that child support would end eventually. I'm sorry, but my parents worked extra hours to save up for this trip, and I can't give away their hard earned money because your mom should have thought about it when you were 17." Roma insulted me, wished me an accident on my birthday, then hung up. My parents supported my decision because I didn't lie about anything. They put in a lot of effort to surprise me, and I can't throw it away because of a 45-year-old woman thinks she should get a job since her ex partner has other children to support. I repeated this all to my relatives since Monday when my maternal family started calling and asking about what happened, but no matter how much I explain, they call me insensitive for not considering my cousin isn't as lucky as me and keep insisting that I still have time to give my money to Roma. But I won't, and I don't think I should. So am I wrong for not giving my cousin the money for my birthday trip?
What did the book that we read, economic outpatient care?
Oh
Mm,
yeah, yep.
What was
I
that?
just keep thinking of
That
that.
was
recent book?
that was
Millionaire.
Millionaire Next Door.
Yep.
Like, bro, like you're. I don't first. Let me start. No, you are not wrong.
Like it.
I'm gonna say that. I think it's crazy that her mother would just think like, okay, she's about to get child support for the rest of her life. Like, no, there's a cutoff time for that. I mean, the situation's unfortunate, but your mom should have been trying to set something up and like at least work. And if she's not working, like, hey, I mean, get a part-time job. Like,
Right. Yeah, they're in college.
yeah, I mean, it's not it's it's hard, I'm sure. Like there are tough times, but like there's ways to do it. And like he said, his parents worked hard for this trip, and that was just the case. Like that's just the cards they were dealt. Like just because her parents aren't together and they're not making enough money at the moment, and her dad's gonna cut off the child support supply, then like you can still go do something. I don't think this person is wrong for saying no to. I mean, you could go even further and be like, okay, he could have gave a little bit of money, but that's still not going to help the situation.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think they're wrong.
There you go. Landon?
That family dynamics about to be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That family
right.
dynamics about
Yeah.
to be
Thanksgiving's gonna be wild.
Right. That's
nuts.
gonna be a show.
No, I'm in the same boat there. I don't think that he's wrong at all. It's really I'm curious to see how old this kid is. That's a pretty well
College.
constructed.
Probably
That's
21.
a well constructed viewpoint
Yeah.
in the sense of you know, like you said with the economic outpatient care, like this is just gonna be, if you do it once, then it's almost gonna be like, oh look, since these people are making more money than us, they're my new child support in a certain way. Like I mean, if it was, it's a whole thing. Like I mean, if it was a one time thing, I don't feel comfortable about the aunt or whatever. I say aunt, so I don't feel comfortable about the aunt like sitting there saying like, hey, you know, why can we not get this money that you're saving for my, what would that be, nephew?
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What is
Yeah.
that relationship?
Yep.
man?
Yep.
So nephew, like trying to take away from it like that already, like in the fact that she like kind of cursed him over the phone, wished he got in an accident, stuff like that. That's really, once you started saying stuff like that, it kind of helped me form my opinion about who I think these people are and kind of how they would deal with certain things. Like there's always the opportunity where it's like, hey, will you do this? You're not going to do this. Okay, I get that. I guess I understand that. But it's still worth the ask. The ask is somewhat insulting enough, but the way you handle it, in the sense of like, oh, okay, like you're not going to do it because you had been saving up da da for my nephew and da da da, then okay, we get it. Like we'll find a way to make it work. Compared to, okay, well, I'm just not talking to you. I'll give it to so you got to deal with my daughter too, so she can kind of tell you to F off and all this stuff like that, and go get in a car accident. Like, that's where it's just like, okay, like, we would have maybe after this month been like, hey, let's try and work ahead after your birthday and be like, hey, we're going to try and give them a starter, compared to now it's just like, no, like, we don't want to help you out. I'm surprised that the family members almost sound like they relate more to the family that's asking. Like, it's almost, to me, I'm looking at this, I'm trying to just like craft the whole narrative, and it's just like, this is the family from the millionaire next door that the daughter moved away and decided to not take the outpatient care and to not be part of this stuff because she saw what everyone was wrapped up in here and actually made it. And then now everyone else is just like, oh, you can't just share. We share all the time. Well, yeah, you guys share a whole bunch of nothing to stay exactly where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, oh, okay, you need $75 this month. I'll give it to you. But now I need $75 next month from anyone. Any takers that will give me $75 because I just did it here. And then you find out about this extra money. Like, I think that's just like a kind of a tough situation. But yeah, I wouldn't say that they're wrong at all for that.
There you
What
go.
about you?
I agree. Yeah, I don't think he's in the wrong. I mean, if all that was truth and they worked hard for it, I mean, they deserve, to reap the benefits of what they work. And finances are tough. Like, I definitely feel for the family. Like, at the end of the day, you don't want them to be homeless, but if they're good and they're just making those, they're not, saving or looking ahead for those. For that time
isn't
being.
this painted as them not doing any work? Like, she's not even working necessarily?
No,
Like,
it's
she's
not, it just sounds like she's just
getting her child
straight.
support, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's been. Oh,
Did you
let's
catch it?
go.
And they got one.
Yeah, it just sounds like the child support's been the income. So like, but yeah, not preparing for that day. Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you gotta do something. And then, like, to your point too, just my final thought is, if they would have said it in a different way, like, oh, hey, like, we're kind of struggling, so like, if you guys could chip in just a little bit, so we could do something
exactly.
for her birthday, and that was a combo between the parents.
Not like, give me all
Right.
your birthday
Yeah, the
fund
entire
money.
thing. Yeah, that's very true.
That's insane.
Very true. To ask the entire amount is pretty selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Because it takes away, right? I mean, it just takes away, like,
yeah.
from the other kid. So,
But yeah, there you go. There we
That
go.
was-
That's that was my section.
all right,
But-
that wraps it up. So we're ready to come back and
Part 3.
move on to part 3.
Fall back down when I die. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. We are reading from Verl to Verl
Once again,
once again.
like we never left.
But until next time, guys, take care, and we will see you next week, Wednesday morning. Peace.